Welcome to the Worst Golf Podcast. Everybody wants to be the best. We strive to be the worst. When a bad take is necessary, we're going to be here to share it with you. I'm your host, JB, and with me is Morgan. She's going to spend most of her time off camera this week because she still isn't feeling all that well. But she's got a few topics to chime in on, and she's going to keep me in line. This is way easier to say in my head. Keep me in line with all those buttons. Before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that other stuff. Guys, if you're listening to the audio version, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That matters way more than you know, and we would really appreciate it. Again, if you like the show. If you don't, leave that too. You could tell us we're terrible. That's fine.
We can take it.
We had a recent review that said we were god-awful.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Mean, it's kind of fact.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it literally is in the name.
Yeah. We got out in front of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a big announcement later in the show for a Grandaddy winner.
Yes, we do.
That one went to the voting. We had a whole bunch of people chime in with their thoughts, give us their pick, and that pick has been made, and we're going to announce it later in the show. We're going to make you suffer through this show.
Oh, yeah.
To do it. My nose is really itching today. The allergies are out of control.
Yeah, it's weird. There's some going on around here.
And we also had, I decided to get out today. I was frustrated with something at work and hop in the golf cart, take a ride for a little bit. That didn't help the allergies either, I'm sure.
Probably not. No.
But we have a jam-packed show. And we're going to kick it right off with some THPer questions because we have some good ones this week. And then we'll get into some other topics as well that are a lot of fun.
Okay.
First one is somebody asked the favorite Grandaddy item that the participants have ever received that isn't apparel. And obviously not clubs or the trip or the golf.
Right.
Exactly.
Things
like that. And I struggled with this one for a bit because it's everything. It's so encompassing. I would say the clubs, but there was one year that was really different, and it's evolved a lot since then. But there was one year that was really different. Nice move there.
Thanks.
You might remember this one. I don't think you were at it, but after the event, they surprised them with travel covers to take all their clubs with them. I think it was the final year, the year after your final year there.
I don't think I was there for that one.
And that one was really cool. Now that has evolved a little bit because now they're getting equipment way before release. So a lot of times it's not ready yet. So they get what they can, but they're still changing that. And it's going to evolve this year as well. So I would say that was probably one that was really cool.
Is it something silly like the sliders?
That's up there too.
You know,
Gatorade in a can. You
know?
Like
silly things like that.
There's a lot of them.
Like for me, it's Comfort Station still.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and there's a opening evening in the past, and we haven't said if this is going to be at the Hideaway because honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
For those wondering, we haven't announced that, and we don't know. But the evening at Al's house is really a pretty special evening.
I've never been.
Because it's both a mix of the people who get into this event, the people from Callaway, and the general public that welcomes them in. And general public's not really the right word because you're at somebody's home on the golf course, and this golf course.
Hideaway people.
Yeah. Along with the professionals there, along with the staff that just welcome everybody in. And Al always does this speech about what it means to him. And that's why for all the things, like if you go get into the Grandaddy and then you go away afterward, I'm going to say it.
Oh, here we go.
Fuck you.
Damn it.
So that's my one time I'm going to use it this week.
Okay. That's it. You heard it one time. That's always loud.
But yeah, so I don't know if that really answers the question because it's impossible to put in words. And the person who asked it, I believe, has been in it. So I would throw it back to him. Like, what was your favorite?
Yeah. It's got to be different for everybody.
It really is. For me, there's a certain moment of memory that is just from that event that gets, and from all the events, but that one specifically that's burned into your brains. And there's that opening night of camaraderie.
So for you, it's the intangible.
Yeah, the intangible. Good word.
Thank you. That's about the only big word I'll be able to come up with in the next hour.
Last week, 2 weeks ago, we teased about talking about crowdsourcing a tour player.
Yes.
And
it wasn't really a tease.
No, it was just something
that. It was a question, really.
Would you guys be interested?
Yeah.
And then last week we were going to discuss it further on the show, and you weren't feeling well during last week's show. Still not.
No.
But we didn't get to that. So I wanted to discuss a little bit this time. I had this idea, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, about crowdsourcing an Epson Tour player. Epson Tour is the Corn Ferry Tour of the LPGA. And this wouldn't be about a sponsorship of THP. It wouldn't be about putting our logo on them or this and that. In fact, we'd probably introduce them to other people to possibly get other logos. That's not really what it's about. For me, it's about the ability to do something as a community and follow a person as a community. Years ago, we had a couple of tour players that we were friendly with, still are, on the LPGA.
Yes.
And there was a rooting interest in the community as a whole to follow them.
Yeah.
And their journey because they had played with them at THP events.
Yeah, you kind of feel like they're your friends.
Yeah. And I thought that would be something pretty cool. So we talked about it internally, and Morgan and I are both kind of on the same page, but really it comes down to what you guys think.
Right.
And what the audience thinks and what they would like to do. It's not an inexpensive endeavor.
No, it's way more expensive than I thought it was going to be.
But it's not a let's crowdsource $50,000 either. That's not necessary.
Right.
But if it's something that people are interested in, it's something we're going to pursue for the 2024 season. So when this is over, leave a comment in YouTube if it's something you're interested in. You don't put it in the live chat now because that's impossible for us to find. When the show is over, as soon as we click end, just drop a comment in there and just say, yeah, it's something I'm interested in, or I need more info, or not really interested, don't care, things like that. I don't know what the cost would be. Obviously, we would do something because that's the $1 million question is what's it going to cost me?
Not $1 million.
No, but I think what we would do is we would start this with a crowdsourcing thing. We put it out there. We put it out to THPers, Albatross Club members first.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
If we had enough Albatross Club members only, we wouldn't even open it up to the public because there could be some other things that go along with this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But then we would also say, like, listen, donate what you can. Mm-hmm. And we would see what that amount came to, and we would participate in that as well. And then depending on where we are, we would say, listen, guys, it's not going to be there. So we're going to return your money.
Oh, absolutely.
Or, hey, we're close. Can you guys give a little more? Or would you prefer us open it up to another thing? Mm-hmm. My gut feeling says it would probably be about $100 a person. That's my gut feeling. I could be way off on that, but that's my gut feeling. It might be a little more. It might be a little less. I don't know. Maybe if you get involved, we give you the free Albatross Club membership. But again, the Albatross Club is a different campaign that goes to a charity.
Exactly.
So if we did that, that would be taking the money from the charity. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And we've talked about doing this instead of the Albatross Club, where you get to be involved with this. But we enjoy doing what we do for St. Jude.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, when this is over, drop it in the comments. If you don't have YouTube, if you don't have YouTube and you're watching on Facebook, because we're live there as well, you can drop it in Facebook. If you're not watching on either one of those and watching on our website or the forum, drop it in the comments there. We're open to all of it. Okay.
Fair.
Well, I know that Wildcat for Life on our forum has made mention of his involvement with that because the Epson Tour plays at the course he works at.
Right.
And he's got some unique things, and we'll probably bring him in as an assistance to start the framework.
Yeah, he'd be a good resource for us.
Yeah, if he's interested.
I think he is. I'm speaking for him, but I'm pretty sure he said he was.
Really good guy, and he helped set up that Arizona THP league that a bunch of guys play together, which is awesome. So again, leave your comments if you're interested in, but we want to hear if you're not also. Don't feel bad if you say, listen, it's not something I'm interested in. Don't feel like you're going to be, oh, how dare you? That's not what this is about.
Right.
So
absolutely. This is totally off. Shout out to whoever it was in Arizona who saw my brother-in-law, my nephew. I don't know who it was.
Oh, on the
but they were driving cross country because they were restationed from San Diego to Virginia. And they said they were out at some golf course where they were staying as they were driving in Arizona. And somebody said that they connected through THP somehow. So
gotcha.
Anyhow, shout out to whoever that was. Thanks.
Somebody asked in the chat what I'm drinking. It is a Redcon Freedom Frost. You know, all about freedom.
It's our dollar special for Vitamin Shop.
Vitamin Shop does $1 energy drinks.
It's Alani New this weekend.
It's once a week, just for the weekend, where you can get 12 per person.
So they say.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a little more than that. So we picked these up. I'd never had it before. Vice City is horrible.
I thought you said it was not that bad.
No, it's bad.
Oh.
The second one I had is bad. This one's actually really good.
Okay.
I don't even know what the flavor is. I would call it Bomb Pop, you know, like the red, white, and blue thing. Yeah.
That's what would make more sense, though?
What's that?
Drinking the older ones in the fridge instead of the brand new ones in the fridge.
Let it go.
Just
let it go.
Just saying.
I know some people are here for the email craziness. So
yeah, you want to get into it?
I'm going to get into it. But for those who have not been around a long time, and I'm going to have to read the notes, but for those who have not been around for a long time, there was a forum member that was banned from our site because he literally went ballistic. He went crazy.
He needs help.
Yeah. And we hope he gets that. This is not a shun him or, make him feel worse kind of thing. But after a year, you get an email. I got an email, and I shared some of that with the audience because it was downright nuts.
It was
crazy.
Okay.
We heard all about the second best shoot fighter and striker in the state of Ohio. And this was it was a long-winded thing. And I only read about 100 words of the 3,000 I got.
I definitely would say that he has some mental issues.
Yeah. And we hope he gets help for that.
100%.
Then I got a second one, and I shared some of that. That one was less crazy and, shall we say, more pointed. Okay.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
And then a couple weeks ago, I made a comment that, could you miss your stalker?
Told you that they're always listening.
No, they're not listening. Well, the answer is yes, evidently I can, but I don't anymore because I awoke this morning at 4 a.m. and found an email.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've never responded to any of these. I've wanted to, and you've advised me not to, but that's probably the smart thing. So I'm going to read you just a small little excerpt.
Okay, because I haven't. I asked you.
She has not read
it.
I told her I wasn't going to share it with her beforehand because she probably tried to get me to not read this on the air. There's no F-bombs.
Okay.
And it's not horrible. It's just all over the place.
Okay. Well,
I use the term word salad quite a bit
Yes.
when people use a bunch of words to say very little.
Right.
I don't know if I've shared the story with a certain Shaft person on the air where I responded back and said it's the. I'll
oh,
share
yes,
that.
you did. No,
I
you did. You did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yes.
That's kind of what word salad.
Okay.
So this doesn't start off with a name or anything. It just says nothing with a period, but nothing spelled Nuthin, of course.
Okay.
Not even a response. I deserve to be back on because all I did was defend against a dickhead. I don't know what that meant, but
when he killed somebody, I think.
Yeah,
right.
But I think he's talking about on the forum.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure I will outsmart the software and sign up again. Is our software that smart? I mean,
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. But think you should just let me on. I'm not interested in going to legal action, but no really good lawyer types in this state that would proudly represent me after doing so in my previous defenses. That's fantastic. I don't drink much anymore. There's a period and then it says anymore. Or do drugs after the break-in. I don't know what that means, but I think that's when he might have
murdered somebody.
Committed a crime. I'm back training 7 days a week now, kickboxing, and plan to move forward with that instead of shoot fighting because that came too easy for me. I don't play golf and haven't in 2 years, but want to take it back and get my skills back to when I was doing long drive, ... and really good at it.
Okay.
Seriously, allow me back on. I'm calmer than ever. I'm asking nice again. And despite being discriminated against from the beginning, I just want to have people STFU. He didn't say the words. Shut the F up. Or put their heads on the line, and I'm willing to travel to do it. I'm right, and you know it. So please, I ask again to let me back in. Now, for me reading this, now keep in mind, 4 a.m., I hadn't had my coffee. I immediately keyed on several things. And if she puts the camera down the line, you would see she's dying laughing right now.
We're not going to change the camera right now.
I keyed on a couple things. Number one, the whole I'm going all in on kickboxing. That was the immediate thing that I keyed in because shoot fighting was too easy. That part's great.
What is shoot fighting, by the way?
I assume he's talking about UFC stuff and he's just using a really weird terminology for it. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, those kind of things. We have a nice Hoist Gracie signed UFC glove in our collection there. But this entire thing is just baffling. So I'm going to ask the audience, those following in our chat and those that are listening, chime in with, should I respond?
No.
I want to hear. She is dying laughing right now.
No. Okay. No.
This is the like if this was Star Wars, we just hit Return of the Jedi.
I don't know what any of that
that's
is.
a trilogy. This would be the third one.
There's a stormtrooper in there somewhere,
Stop.
right?
You're
And
embarrassing yourself.
There's
Just
a Yoda.
stop. Just
There's
stop.
a little
There's not
baby
a Yoda. There's Yoda.
There's a baby one. He's adorable.
Its name's not Yoda. But anyway,
Whatever. He's adorable though.
he is adorable.
Yeah. This guy is not.
This guy's definitely not adorable.
No.
Now, to add further to this, if we used as Star Wars or Rocky, that was a great trilogy also.
Okay, I watched those.
It continues. There's a bit of a break, but it goes to 4, 5, and 6. Will we have an episode 4, 5, and 6? And if so, how good can they possibly be? Because most sequels suck, right? Most sequels aren't great.
No, they're terrible.
These just keep getting better. I mean, the first one was epic. The second one was a little more just pointed, but still nonsensical. This one's fantastic.
Well,
I want to hire this person to be a writer for
this one, at least, because like the first ones, I feel like he was saying, I don't drink and I don't do drugs. And this one actually finally admitted, I do drink and I do drugs, or I did drugs. So at least like we're getting somewhere. You know what this is? This is like his therapy session without.
I think it is. I think he's viewing this as something cathartic.
Yes.
That's a good word too, by the way.
That is a good word.
To just get something out.
Yes.
And knowing that there's not going to be a response. My thought is, if you hear the vibration, sorry, I'm trying to put my phone on something as it keeps going off. My thought is, I want to fuel the ammo.
Yeah, but no, I don't think you should do that. But I do think that maybe this is like therapy for him, because it seems like with each one, more is coming out a little bit.
Yeah, but
and it's a little bit more. How do I put sensical? Like it's not like that's not a word.
This one's
like,
really not nonsensical like the other ones were. But this was my favorite line. I just want to have people shut the F up or put heads on the line, and I'm willing to travel for it.
I don't even know what that means either. Well, I don't speak this kind of language.
Apparently, it's something to do with kickboxing. Maybe he's putting heads on the line.
Like I've done kickboxing.
Are we gonna fight for pink slips? I mean, because you want a new car, we could do that.
That's so funny. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna get like the little flag and everything. And oh my gosh,
it's truly. You can't make it up, and that's what makes it better.
Yeah.
Because we don't normally get, like, most of our members are just amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I always say that there's a handful. Our community self-polices, generally speaking.
Yes.
There's a handful that nothing's going to make them. They're just angry at the world. And the internet's perfect for them. And that's great.
Yes.
I'm glad they find our site to be that way.
Yes. But, and like other people said, like he did say please a few times.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's a little more polite.
I mean, there's part of me that says, my God, we need to reinstate him.
No. 100% no.
Since we're on the topic of ranting, why don't we jump right into your rant of the week, which is much tamer than this?
Kind of. That's the one. Okay. So my rant is, as I've been talking about, I have not been feeling well. I don't really know what's wrong. Well, I know part of it was asthma, which is still kind of bothering me, but like I just don't, something's not right. Like I just don't feel well. So I had an appointment to get a physical after my birthday, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just see if I can push the appointment up. Let's just see. Maybe I'll get some blood work, figure things out. Guess what? There's a doctor shortage. And if you are an established patient, you can't move your appointment up. I called, like, no joke, 15, 16 doctors in the area. Not one of them was taking a new patient.
Have you been on the Elaine list, where maybe you're on the list?
I'm blacklisted?
Yeah,
I know. I never even gave my name. I literally just said, I'm just calling to see if you're taking new patients. Didn't even ask my insurance company or anything. We're not taking new patients until after August. We're not taking new patients until after September.
So what do you do if you're sick? Do you just go to the emergency room? Urgent care?
Yeah. You just have to go to urgent care.
It's all a scam.
It's crap.
It's all a scam.
It's absolute
no
crap.
offense to the doctors that are probably.
No, yeah. I don't think it's necessarily the doctor's fault. It's just there's not, I don't know, there's not enough doctors, or I don't know what the deal is.
Use Dr. Google. It'll fix everything.
Well, Dr. Google says that I have diabetes and I have kidney disease right now. And I'm also hypoglycemic.
Okay, so I'm laughing even though that's not funny, because I know none of that is real. But yeah.
Who knows? That's what it is. So that's what Dr. Google says right now. That's what's wrong with me.
Jumping into another THPer question.
I'm not a doctor person either, by the way. That's the thing. Like I real quick, I haven't had like an actual regular physician in years, because knock on wood, I don't normally get sick. Like I get sick like once every 3 years. Like I don't really have to go to the doctor for anything. But I was like, okay, it's a big year this year for my birthday. I should probably get established with a physician, have Josh get established with a physician. Next year's a big year for him. Like, let's start being adults here. And you can't. You can't get into a damn doctor. All right, go on. Sorry.
For those that have tuned in late, I urge you to maybe watch the rest of this live, but then definitely go back and watch the beginning.
100%, yes.
Because I saw a couple people jump in that they just made it on.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
You're not going to want to miss the email rant. It's fantastic, and I look forward to that. Plus the crowdsourcing thing that I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jumping into a THPer question. Choosing grinds with mat versus turf.
This is all you.
Okay. So I decided when I got this question to go straight to 3 different experts. I went to a club designer, I went to an expert fitter, and I went to a person that I'll say remains nameless, but they work at a place that is conducive to doing wedge fitting outside. And I asked them, how do you do it? What's the best way to choose your grind? And they all said, yes, you want to go through fitting, but they said they understand that fitting off turf and fitting off grass, most people think there's a huge difference there. All 3 responses led to a very similar conclusion, which is A, you deliver the club the same way no matter what you're hitting off of. And if you were to get fit at one place and the grass is different than when you normally play, that would be just the same as going from mat to something else. Same with sand and everything else. So you want to try to pick your grinds based on how you deliver the club head and the type of conditions you play with. I'm a big believer in how you deliver the club head being the biggest thing. And that should come down to sole size. That should come down to leading edge. So that's kind of what I would work with. Most of the companies that are making wedges now with multiple grinds really do a pretty good job of education. Obviously, the THP forum is a great resource as well. And if you were going to go get fit, you can do that as well. But if you don't want to go get fit, if for some reason that's not your thing, ask on the forum, do some research. We've done a couple of really good videos with Edel, with Titleist, and with Callaway, and even with Cleveland. Those are some of the biggest names in wedge game with numerous grinds. That'll probably help you. And that THPer question kind of moves into our next topic, which is next week, the Open Championship is nearing, and we always do pretty cool contests for the Open. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
So the Open Championship to me is the one where it's a little different. It's a different type of golf. It's early in the morning. It's a really great kind of test. Mm-hmm. So we went with where I would want to go for this. And I think of Open Championship, I think of putting, short game, and unique shots. So sure. I want utility, I want wedges or putter. And I went to Edel Golf and I said, let's do a cool contest around this. And they were excited. They thought, this is great. Yeah. Let's do some SMS wedges. So the lucky winner of that contest, when it goes live, will get any 3 Edel wedges they want, the SMS, lofts, grind, and everything else. And they'll get to pick that all out. They'll be built to them.
Which is awesome.
And then send it out. So keep your eyes out for that next week when we launch that, because you're going to want to win this one. And it'll be an easy contest to enter. You're going to want to pick who's going to win, obviously. And you're going to want to pick what grind you think is your favorite. We're not going to hold you to that. If you enter and you say, I want a P grind, and then you change later on to something else, that's cool.
Yeah.
But have an idea. Don't come in there and drop a grind in there that they don't make.
I've been wondering this for a while.
Go for it.
Does anybody ever think of text messaging when they hear that?
This?
No, the SMS.
No.
Am I the only one that does that?
I think it means it's the same letters,
right.
But I think that most people just call it text messaging now. Do you call it MMS for a photo box?
No, but I'm just saying, when somebody, like, when I first saw the name, I thought text messaging. Like, am I the only one that thought that?
Probably. Maybe not.
No, other people did.
Okay.
See?
Well, there you go.
I wasn't alone.
I'm willing to bet that I can't see the comments, but I'm willing to bet that the people who say that are older.
Only the older people. Yeah, that's exactly.
But I'm older and I didn't, so who knows? But I get excited about golf equipment.
No, I know you do. It's just that was, for some reason, that was like the first thing that came to my head, and I was like, I wonder if they thought about that at all.
I got a PM this morning, and it was a cool PM, and it was just talking about new equipment coming out, and they asked about a certain set of irons that's coming out in the future, and I don't give that information out.
Of course.
But they said, you seem very excited about this. And I was like,
yeah,
dude, I'm excited about every set.
Yeah, of course.
I love it. And whether I was doing this or I wasn't, I would absolutely have FOMO with golf equipment.
Right.
I would want every set to come out and things like that. But I'm also a firm believer in I don't change equipment a lot. I do now because of the different events.
Right.
But generally speaking, I stick with it. You know, a few years back, I think I played Apex irons for almost 3 years.
You played the same putter for
the green number 7 I played for 5 years. Yeah. And it's still literally right there.
Yeah.
You could probably grab that and show it to people.
I could, but I'm not going to.
That leads to a next question. THPer question. Momentum and high-end putters.
All you.
So this is a tough one because I think people get confused on the putter market. And it's broken down, I guess you would say, in price.
Whoa.
Yeah, you almost spilled your drink on me.
Sorry, guys.
It gets broken down in price a little bit where people talk about premium putters and then non-premium. And I'm not sure that the gap is there as much as it used to be price-wise, because I think that most people, when they talked about that subject, generally speaking, viewed it as Odyssey versus Scotty Cameron.
Yeah.
You know, Odyssey at the time was about $200. Scotty Cameron at the time was $300. Now it's $5 and $3 or $4. So I think that was kind of the same. I'll say that was kind of the thing. The internet has changed that. Instagram has changed that. Companies blurred the lines. Callaway or Odyssey now has both premium and I call it non-premium. I don't know how to call it because I think the non-insert, I guess.
Yeah.
Milled. And then Cleveland Golf doing what they do with a milled line that's super affordable, although, you know, it's not entirely forged or milled. So it's a tough one. Is the momentum in the high-end putter market? Probably not. I will say that Scotty Cameron sells a lot of putters.
Yes.
Odyssey sells a lot of putters. If you went by units, Odyssey, I believe, is still the top name sold. Dollar share, obviously, would be Scotty Cameron because of the cost difference.
Right.
The difference from them, because this question came from Bettinardi, the difference from that segment, the Scotty Cameron or the Odyssey segment, to Bettinardi, which I think would be next in line, is staggering.
Yeah.
Like we're not talking tens of thousands. We're talking over 200,000 probably. So that's a lot of pieces in the period of a year. And I don't know if I'd say it's growing. I think golf equipment in general is growing. It has been growing, I should say, since COVID. That market, I'm not sure. I do believe that there's a place for the 200, I'll call it 249 and down putter. I really like 199 as the putter.
Me too.
To get people in. Not that these putters aren't worth that. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, no. It's just a number. It's a price point.
Yeah. What I'm saying is I've always said that number really got people to take a flyer.
Yeah.
And I've said that forever about irons costing $1,000. $999 is a great price point for irons to get people in. We don't have that currently.
Yeah.
And that changes things, but there's a reason for all of that. And I've talked to every company, and it's not just margins. I know everybody thinks that. It's not. Every aspect has gone up in price, from the materials to the shipping to the packaging, and then add in that everybody wanted wages to go up.
I was just going to say,
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I have no opinion on it, but when that comes in, that goes up.
Well, and it's not,
and the wages that all the companies that make the components go up.
Yeah. And it's a labor shortage to go along with it.
Correct. So everything contributes to that. And I think that that's kind of a big piece of the puzzle that's often overlooked. I don't know, going back to the question, if I would say that we are going to see a continued rise in the premium putter market. I don't necessarily think we're going to see a falter in it, but that's kind of where I'd say. Somebody said in the chat, because I saw it, a strong t-shirt game. I said last week, I'm going to be wearing one. This is the Roy Kent. He's here. He's there. He's every effing where. I'm going to wear a different one every week. I think I have 8 more for the next 8 shows picked out. Those following along, I will tell you that next week's show will be Tuesday, and it'll be a morning show.
Yes.
It'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern time, we believe. We'll have all the information on that coming soon.
Yeah.
Though. To a less serious topic.
Yes.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine who messaged me on Facebook. It might have been my first ever Facebook Messenger.
Really?
Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time there.
I do a lot of service stuff that way. Like if I'm reaching out to like local, like a yard company or
that
something
makes
like
sense.
that. Yeah.
And he started talking about reminiscing about food from the cafeteria. Now, this is going to be very independent, or very dependent on age, because as people got older, even your age, the food choices were a little different than mine, you know, with the square pizza It was amazing. The hexagon pizza, the Mexican pizza is what they called it, even better.
I'm gonna
Things like
piss
that.
So many people off.
Meatloaf, Salisbury steak. These were the choices. And everything was just a shade of brown or gray that made it even better.
With the red apple.
No, I never got that. I got a cinnamon roll. 35-cent upcharge. You could get a cinnamon roll instead of an apple. Yeah. And they had the 3 milks in the carton. You had the red, the blue, and the brown. Everybody got the brown. Why even have the regular milk when chocolate milk was available? You know, like but Mexican pizza was my favorite. It was hexagon shaped. It had these little sausage balls on there. I've tried to find it. It doesn't really exist.
Searched high and low.
If
You
you search
searched
the internet,
everywhere.
people will tell you it's the Schwann's truck has it. It's not the same. That's how this conversation
It's called,
started.
like, Fiesta Pizza or something, right?
It's Fiestada.
We've looked everywhere. Seriously.
But my friend ordered the Fiestada or whatever it was called from Schwann's, and he's like, "It's trash. It's not good." And I was like, "Well, maybe it's not good going back." He's like, "No, it's different." I said, "Okay, I can get down with that." But was I crazy in that I still have this fondness for the cafeteria food? I love it. What was your not you? What was the audience? What was your favorite food day? Because I'll share a quick story before we get to yours, which is obviously everybody's going to know the answer to that already.
Yeah.
I went when I was in high school.
I'm going to read the comments while you're talking, so I can tell you.
I went from a public school for the first 3 years to a private sports kind of academy my senior year to do some different things.
Meatball subs. Who the heck was getting meatball subs?
At my private school, we had fast food choices every day. It was Blimpies, Subs, Arby's, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut pizza, and then there's one other one. I can't remember what the other one was. And that was just by the day, and you order ahead of time. Mine, to me, that's still, while that sounds better.
Hot dog flavored pepperoni?
No, that's weird. These people must have lived in backwoods. But I kind of liked the cafeteria style. $1.35 got me everything I wanted on a nice plastic tray. I love my plastic tray. You know that?
I got you some.
I know.
I did. I bought him some.
What was your favorite?
Oh, I didn't eat school lunch. That's gross. I brought my own lunch. First of all, I'm lactose intolerant, so been my entire life. Never drank the milk. Doesn't matter what color the box was. Second of all, I brought my own lunch because the cafeteria food is gross and smelled gross, and I didn't eat in the cafeteria either. So we used to have, our school had a courtyard, and you could eat outside or
Most
in
of
the
people have seen your school on the news.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Which is exactly why it was good for what happened there.
Yeah.
You hoity-toity. No, it was a public school. We had a courtyard, so you could eat outside or you could eat inside. I always ate outside because the smell of a cafeteria makes me want to vomit. And it has forever. Elementary, middle, high, doesn't matter. It smells terrible.
I agree with the commenters. You're totally bougie.
And that incinerator thing that you have to throw the food into that is like spitting up food.
Now think about the person who had to take that out.
No. So, okay. Here's true story, real quick. True story. I used to work at Tony Roma's in high school as a waitress. And one of the side things that you had, like at the end of their shift, you had like jobs. Like some people would like to roll napkins, like roll silverware, or like fill up condiments or whatever.
Story. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
One of them was that you had to be on dish duty. And I literally got a doctor's note to say that I couldn't do the dishes because the smell was so disgusting that I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't do it.
She's bougie.
I wouldn't do it. It was so bad. I literally couldn't do it that I got a doctor's note saying I had some kind of allergy to something. I don't know. So that I wouldn't have to do it because it smelled that bad. Like I am so sensitive to that kind of stuff. Oh, no.
In a related news to Taco Bell, because I saw Taco Bell mentioned in the comments. I don't know what people said.
Yeah.
The CEO of Taco Bell is no longer there.
No, where'd he go?
Mark King.
Yeah, I know.
From TaylorMade, nowhere as of yet. And I'll get to that in another thing coming up. There's some speculation, and to me, I'll squash that.
Oh. So my lunches were like turkey sandwiches and a yogurt, or
of course,
an apple or something.
Nothing says a good idea like a warm yogurt halfway through the day.
You freeze it the night before, and then by the time you eat it, it's fine. I was go-gurting before go-gurt was a thing.
I would hope so, because you're not that young.
Anyway,
jumping back to the THPer questions, most costly club building mistake. And I can remember this one like it was yesterday. When I got this question, I actually laughed out loud. I was doing a small video thing for social media. This is years ago. And it was, I had to do a 6-second bit of cutting a shaft. And I was at a shaft manufacturer doing this. And it was just cutting and prepping the tip. That's all I had to do. And I was working on the camera angle, and I had the camera set up, just pointed down. And if people are watching, they'll see I'm pointing down, like it was pointing down at the machine. And I do a practice run. Everything's great. The camera picks it up. It's perfect. So I go to the next thing. I press record. I grab the shaft and I do it, and everything's great. I press record, pack up the stuff, and I'm walking out. And they said, "What did you do?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You just cut our 1-of-1 prototype. I picked up the wrong shaft out of the drying rack, and I cut their 1-of-1 prototype that they did not have another one at that office. They had to redo the shaft."
That is way worse than what I did to a prototype.
No, I mean, you broke it, so the same result happened. But
yeah, but
they could make another one. The place I was at, yours, you ended a museum.
No, I did not.
So hopefully that answers the question. This one's for both of us.
Oh, okay.
The question was, what sporting event would you want to attend? And this one's hard for me because,
like,
what do you mean?
Go at a football game?
Yeah, like go to a professional
Okay.
sporting event. I've been to most of them. Like, I've been to multiple Super Bowls.
Mhm.
I've been to college national championships. I've been to the NBA finals, although never a championship
Aren't you
game.
fancy?
I did it for a living.
I know.
It's
just
not
messing
exactly
with
something I've been to the Masters. So I don't know the answer to that. I've never been to any of them with you.
you. No.
I would say
We went to an arena football game together once.
I would say opening day of the football team of our choosing, whose quarterback was on your fantasy team, sitting in a luxury box.
Yes.
I don't want to be out in the stands with the commoners. No, I'm just kidding.
See, and I'm the bougie one.
But that would be my thing.
But I wouldn't turn that down.
Opening day in a
on
luxury
our private jet.
No,
that
we don't need a private
there.
jet. Opening day for whatever team you have the starting quarterback for.
Yeah.
In a luxury box.
Yeah.
That would be my choice.
That'd
You?
be no, I like that.
Oh, that's your going
that's
with?
good. I
Not
like
a Super
that.
Bowl? You're a big football person.
The Super Bowl, honestly, I would rather be at home.
Yeah,
because I'd rather watch the commercials.
Well, in the luxury box, you have TVs. In there.
Yeah, but still, I would rather be. There's too many people. Okay, I'm not a big crowd person. There's like way too many people, and then if you don't like the halftime show, you can't turn it off. You're there.
Yeah, that's
so. True. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. That would be no good. No.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going with my idea.
Yeah, although I'd like to go to the Masters once. I've never been.
Yeah, that was good. I've been to
yeah.
two
Although
of
I
those.
don't personally like to be in person for golf tournaments either.
I
you
know.
can't see anything.
No, and it's a lot of work on our end for that when we can do the same.
Yeah,
work,
your feet hurt. Like I really like watching sports at home personally.
So the next question came from social media, and it was from a friend of mine. But they said collectibles from youth that you were nostalgic about.
And we just happened to watch a show on this the other day.
We just happened to watch
a documentary thing.
One of those documentary shows on Netflix, the toys that made us, and it was on, what was it? My Little Pony.
It was My Little Pony, which I was a big fan of as a kid.
Yeah, I wasn't, and I'm not a brony. That's a thing now.
We had to look that up.
Yeah, but Arrow's trying to get in your lap there.
To get in my lap, baby.
But I'm a big fan of nostalgia in general.
Me too.
But so this is what happened. This is why this thing came to me. My friend wanted an original Nintendo system. That's pretty collectible now, as we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted these 4 games with it that I guess he played when he was 12 or 13 years old. He's my age. So he bought it, and it was pricey.
I bet it was.
And he got it home, and first, it didn't exactly hook right into his TV. And I know they make the generic or the brands now where you can just plug it into the TV and play those games like Tecmo Bowl and things like that. But this is different. He wanted the original where, you have to blow on the cartridge to get it to work and things like that. Yeah. He wanted that, and he played it, and he's like, this is horrible. So how much of it is the nostalgia? And I was wearing the Tecmo Bowl shirt last week.
Yeah.
But how much of it is nostalgia and how much of it is those were awesome?
It's nostalgia. I mean, the graphics are terrible.
Yeah.
There's like 3 buttons to push. Like
there were 2.
Right,
but
exactly.
3 is a lot.
Yeah, it was like AB.
Yeah.
Well, there's AB up, down, right?
Yeah.
So
select and start.
Yeah.
There's no triggers on the top. Like my hands don't work that way anymore.
No, exactly. So I mean, it's nostalgia. It's nothing more than that.
I think it is. I mean, some of them they had an innocence to them though that was just awesome.
Well, yeah.
But I think that goes back to the innocence of youth.
Exactly. And even when you had the games where you were fighting people, you weren't like beating up prostitutes and things like that.
Were we not supposed? Is that frowned upon?
Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had an Intellivision. Somebody posted in the comments. Everybody else had an Atari. My father went the cheaper way and got an Intellivision. It was actually better.
So we had an Atari, and then I wanted to see how many crayons you could fit in there.
Oh, good. That sounds about right.
That didn't go over so well.
Jumping into THPer Questions, this one's for you.
Okay.
New car.
I'm
Because we
not-
talked about last week. My car segment, the people who didn't see the thread, they fixed everything under warranty, no
Yes.
problems. Everything was fine.
Yeah. I'm not getting a new car. I just think it's really pretty. That's all.
No, she's not getting a new
No,
car. Both our
I love
cars
my
are
car.
new. I mean, your car's
Yeah.
less than a year old. Mine's barely a year and a half.
I'm almost at 3,000 miles.
Yeah, wonderful.
I'm at like 2,900 and change now.
Next THPer question. Somebody asked about. We broke the news before anybody actually about Sean Toulon.
Yes.
And Callaway. People look at Sean differently than I do, probably because A, I worked with him when he was at TaylorMade for so many years, but B, they looked at him as Toulon design as a putter guy, and he is a putter guy, but he was also industrial design and product at Callaway, not just the putters. And they have a huge team of engineers. Probably, I don't even say probably. They definitely have the largest R&D in golf.
Right.
It's not really close, but Sean no longer at Callaway. What's he going to do? And I talked to Sean for a bit. We exchanged some messages, and the irony being that when he did that, the next day, Mark King, no longer at Taco Bell. So the natural coincidence was, hey, they're getting the band back together.
I see where
next
you're
thing
going
you know,
with
Harry Arnett will be there, and all these other people.
Somehow Mark Wahlberg will be a part of it.
Yeah, somehow he's part of everything else.
Yeah.
But the answer to that question is no. I can't speak for Mark King. I haven't spoken to him since he was at Honma.
Yeah.
From my understanding, Sean is working on something that's going to be a little different. Getting his family involved. Now, Joe is still working at Odyssey. He's out on tour. But Tony is not, and getting that. And that the way Sean put it to me is he has the full support of Callaway behind him, and it would be something with Callaway.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
That's just kind of my understanding of it. And I'm reading between the lines a little bit, and I don't want to speak for them. But when that happens, Sean has said he'd come on the podcast, probably Dan's show, talk through it. We'll do something on THP and things like that. So we'll definitely have a clear message straight from the source, as we like to do it, rather than the rampant speculation that exists online.
Right.
Speculation's fun, though. Recipe of the week.
Yes. I'm going to do it with Arrow in my lap here.
Man, he looks like an old man in that picture.
I know. His little eyes can barely even open. I know. Yeah. Okay. So recipe of the week is, I'm going breakfast. Gonna go breakfast this time. This is one I make all the time.
You've been on a roll, by the way. These recipes have been really good.
Good. I'm glad. I hope people have got a chance to make them and they've enjoyed them. This one is a crustless broccoli and cheddar quiche. Now, you don't have to do broccoli. You can do whatever vegetable you want. You can do spinach. You can literally do whatever. I seriously make this every other week. Sometimes I make it once a week. Make 6 servings. It's really, really, really easy to make. It reheats really well. Just pop it in the fridge, an airtight container, and then reheat it the next morning for like a minute, maybe a minute and a half, depending on your microwave. And it's just a really good, high protein, tasty recipe that will fill you up for the morning. So I highly recommend it, and I'll have everything ready to go on the form for you. Oh, look, his whole face is in there too. So
oh, look at that. I forgot to add a topic, so I'm going to jump into this one real fast because I put something out on social media and then on the forum about the SkyTrack Wedge short game clinic. They call it Wedge Matrix. Excuse me. Easy for me to say this morning after I'm chugging this thing.
Yeah.
And how would you fare if it was a graded scale? Like if they put something out there that said you did A, B, C, D, or F, how would you fare in the short game clinic? And the way it works, first of all, it's cool as freaking hell. For a simple little design, it's so cool. So you can do 3 or 4 wedges. I bet you should probably do more, but I did 2 wedges only. But you could do 3. I think 3 is probably the norm for most people. And you're going to hit a pitch shot, a quarter swing, a half swing, and a full swing. And it's measuring distance gaps. It's measuring deviation from middle, things like that. And you do it each one with each club. So how would people fare? And how do you think I fared?
Well, I kind of already know how you fared.
Well, if they had a grading scale, they would have just told me to take up bowling.
I know how you fared because you were not happy.
You know, I always for years kind of thought short game was my saving grace. You know, I was never really long off the tee. I was never short game got me around.
Yeah, you've always had a good short game.
I don't anymore, evidently.
No.
I'm creative, and I can pull off different weird shots.
You're creative all the time.
Thanks. Wonderful support.
Real quick, it's not really a quiche so much as like an egg souffle. Think of it more like a
Really
frittata.
interrupted my flow. That's what happened with the wedge matrix. I had no flow. But I was hitting these shots and I realized afterward a couple things. Number one, 2 of my wedges go the same distance. That's wonderful on all the shots. Never
Okay.
mind the, hey, you're supposed to get a little different things.
Right.
Not just on the full swing or the half shot, but all the shots. The other one was I miss every single one to the left.
Okay.
Every single ball was to the left, meaning I'm coming
Okay.
close. Makes perfect sense. Let's try to fix that. Do it again, exact same results. Do it again, exact same results. And you're like, my God, you really suck.
Or now you know what's wrong, so you can fix it.
You would think so. By the third time, I might have
Right.
been able to even aim a little further right. Nope, can't do it. It was a disaster. So I'm curious how people go through this and what they think of these type of things that are taking indoor golf from just sim rounds, which some people like, some people don't,
I'm trying to
to putting
share up
some
there.
really pointed practice in. Practice that you can absolutely do this, or this to help you. And that's where, with SkyTrack being involved with Golf Tech, that's one of the things that's so intriguing to me. And I have no idea if this is in place or if
Right.
it's coming in place. I should preface that.
You're just making stuff
I'm
up
making
now.
shit up as I go now.
Okay.
If they are listening, and they might be, take this. Somehow, when I do a wedge matrix, I want that coach that the closest Golf Tech to send me an email and say, oh my God, you're horrible.
Come on in.
Let's fix this. I can fix this in one session, right?
Yeah.
I don't need you to sell me 12 sessions. I understand that's your job, and I'm not knocking Golf Tech for that. I actually, my feelings on Golf
Yes.
Tech, that from a lesson standpoint, I think they do a pretty darn good job. But how great would that be that if you go through a wedge matrix and the next thing you know, you have an email like, hey, Craig at the Ponte Vedra location says, hey, he has a 30-minute session for you, some drills, or maybe you don't have to go in. Maybe he can send you some drills and there'll be an online segment.
Like a virtual tutorial type thing.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, that is freaking great. So if I probably am throwing stuff out that is literally not possible to implement for them right now, but if they can, it's awesome. Also, if they started doing grades, I think I would throw the SkyTrack out the window because I wanted to throw a wedge out the window.
Don't do that.
No, because it works fine on the course. I make my way around. But yeah, so people don't want to hear about that anymore, about my ranting and raving of a lunatic trying to play golf. But let me get into what a lot of people are here for, which is the Grandaddy announcement.
Yes, they've waited long enough.
Yeah, they've suffered through this rant for almost an hour.
But they've at least had Arrow to look at.
Yeah, exactly.
For those who are watching.
This was one of the more fun contests we've done. And because it took some creativity, the entries, I told people ahead of time, you got a better chance to win because the entries were much less.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. But honestly, there were better entries than I expected.
Me too. A lot of them.
Yeah, people actually took it seriously.
Yes.
We even had some with visuals, like there were pictures in there.
Well, they weren't supposed to, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, people went the extra mile, and I wasn't expecting that.
We had people doing commercial commentary in there. Like,
brought to you by.
The stuff was really good.
I was impressed.
This was really hard.
Yeah.
But we had the same trend of people in all the voting.
Yep.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So allow me to introduce, and I'm going to butcher this name.
Probably.
I've met him once before from a couple of years ago, but Brighton G.
Or Britain. Brighton or Britain. Brighton or Brighton.
You are in the Grandaddy.
Congratulations. Welcome to the Grandaddy.
His putter line that he came up with was the Drip, DRIP, the Drip series.
Yep.
I thought that was awesome.
Yes.
And he had both a men's and a women's line.
Yes. I know. That was what I'm saying. The extra mile. You had a men's and a women's line.
The Widowmaker, that was my line from my wedge years ago. I had that. But, I thought that was awesome. I thought a lot of these were
there were
really,
so many
really
creative
good.
ones. Somebody even talked about Arrow, which really, I appreciate that.
That had no bearing on my voting, but I know it did for you.
Yes.
So congratulations, you were in the Grandaddy. I said earlier, next week we are back, but it's going to be a morning show. We believe it's going to be Tuesday around 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
We're going to have some really cool stuff on that show, including an announcement for the next Grandaddy contest.
Yes.
As well as a few other things. Plus, it's major week, so we're going to have some fun with that. So for myself and Morgan, thanks for joining us this week. Remember, when this show ends, jump in the comments.
Yes.
Not the chat,
no,
the comments, and tell us what your thoughts are on the crowdsourcing idea and where you stand. We want honest feedback on that, guys. So thank you, And we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.